If you're a content creator, let me tell you why Trello is going to be your new best friend. So, if you're a content creator, you probably have some sort of content calendar, and maybe it's written out in paper, maybe it's on like a Google Sheet or an Excel spreadsheet. But here's why I use Trello for this sort of thing and why I personally think you should too. So, let me just explain how I do it, and I'm going to give you a little bit of visual into it as well so that you can see how it looks kind of while I'm explaining it. But I want to talk about just like the weekly content that we create. So, whether you're a content creator and that's your core business, or you're a business owner and content is just the name of the game, right? It's just how you get yourself out there and how you get yourself visible and how you communicate with your audience and potential customers. In both cases, this kind of board is gonna be so helpful. So let me point out a few things about this board, why it's so incredibly impactful, and how I'm able to manage literally my entire content strategy on this one board. So you can see here that I have a specific list where I use it very much like a brain dump, but it's the place where I kind of jot down video ideas. Now, for me, videos like the one you're watching are my core content. I do have social media content and things like that, but those are, if I'm honest, a little bit more of an afterthought for me than YouTube content or my newsletter. And that's why when you look at this brainstorming list, you're mostly going to see, video content, tutorial content ideas. So, what I love about this is that I'm able to kind of jot down my thought, but I can start brainstorming like thumbnail ideas because I can look at how maybe other people are creating thumbnails for a similar type of video that they've done. Because a lot of times I get my inspiration from watching other channels and other YouTubers and seeing, what are they sharing content on that people are liking, and then kind of do my take on it. This very common way of, deciding what to do content wise for a channel. And so I will sometimes look at different thumbnails and say, okay, these might be good ideas, or maybe I just start kind of brainstorming my own thumbnail ideas. And so I throw them in here. I can also start jotting down, potentially if it's a tutorial, I can start jotting down like the main points that I want to make. And I do this because a lot of times these ideas come to me when it's not a good time for me to film. And I don't want to forget the idea that I had because I'm the kind of person that if I don't write it down, it's just kind of gone. Right? So I use this board as a place to write that stuff down. And I don't always feed it into my content strategy right away, but it's always there so that if there's ever a week that I'm just stumped, I don't have any ideas, or, maybe it's something that's more timely and it'll kind of make more sense at a specific time of year, then I can pull it in that way. So that's one thing that I do is by having my content inspiration and idea list right here on this board. And then as you kind of go over to the right, you're going to see that I have a list for each week. Now, I choose to break up my content calendar into quarters. If I'm honest, it's because my podcast co host did hers that way, and I really liked it. I thought that, if I tried to do the entire year on one board, I don't know, it would feel really overwhelming because it would make me realize how long 52 weeks actually is. I mean, I'm making the same amount of content, but there's just something about making it in little bite-sized sections that just makes it seem a little bit less intimidating. But also I kind of get to have that dopamine fix of when I finish a quarter, it's like done. I actually completed something and I don't feel like it's just this ongoing, never-ending cycle of needing to create content, which can it can feel that way, right? Because content creation is an ongoing, never-ending task, and if it's not your, like, favorite part of your business, then it can be really what's the word I'm looking for? Soul crushing to just see that never-ending list, so I like seeing the ending of it. I also plan things out this way so that I can see the overall theme for the week. Even though I know that my audience is not following my content week the same way that I am. I mean, people who are watching me on YouTube might not even be over on my Instagram, might not be on my newsletter. Although, if you're not, you should sign up for it. But, you might not even see all of that. But for me, having an overarching theme for the week, helping me to kind of guide my content in a certain way, give it a little more purpose and intention, has been really helpful. So I like doing that with the week per list kind of strategy. And then I break down by the day, whether I'm doing Instagram, or you can see here, I've got my member email goes out on Monday, my new podcast, which if you didn't catch Monday's video, I announced something really cool over there. So you might want to go check that out. I'll link it so that you can go check it out. But I've got that on Monday. So Monday's starting to get busy. I've got like 3 content pieces that are going out on Mondays now, and that's a lot. But then the rest of the week is still just one thing a day, and it just really helps me to kind of keep track of things, make sure that I'm not missing a platform or a channel of communication that I want to be present on. And ever since I started with this kind of strategy, my consistency on all platforms has it's existed. I never had any level of consistency before I had a plan, before I had a strategy. And that was not great for my business. And it wasn't good for me either because I always felt guilty that I wasn't consistently posting or consistently emailing or consistently teaching or whatever it might be. So creating that consistency was a mindset boost for me as well as something that just really helped to grow my visibility and get my brand out there in the world. So having that list and being able to kind of tick things off every week, it really helps with that consistency. And you may notice that I have collapsible lists and my lists are different colors. And like you can see, my favorite color, my branded color is the active list color. And this is the one that I'm actually like planning and writing and working on in this moment. And then when I have planned all that content, I can just collapse the list and move on. And the reason I can just collapse the list and move on is because of automation workflows. So I've set up automation workflows to automatically mark these things complete for me. So I put a scheduled label on the card when I have written and scheduled it into the platform wherever it's going, Instagram, or if it's going through email, or if it's the YouTube video, whatever it might be. I put that scheduled label on there, and I always put a due date of when it's actually scheduled so that when those two things come together, when the moment that it's due and it has that scheduled label, Trello just automatically marks it complete for me and changes out that label from scheduled to published. So I don't have to remember to go back and do that. So that means that I can collapse that list and kind of move on and be done with that piece of content and focus on whatever I'm working on next, which is kind of huge, actually. Another thing that I do to kind of make life a little bit easier is I have this template list right here. And this list is actually not only is it a template of what things I do every week and like which days I do them, but specific cards are actually, I use them as template cards because when I'm doing a YouTube video, there is a process, right? I have to record the video, I have to edit the video, I have to write the description, I have to do my research on the keywords, I have to do the blog page where I embed the video, all those things. This is my process for my YouTube videos. And by having that template list, all of those tasks are right there on the card, so I don't forget to do any of them. Now, a lot of those might sound like, how could you forget? I mean, you obviously have to remember to record the video or to edit the video. But there are some things like adding it to my Pinterest strategy, or in the case of my newsletter, one of the things that I do is create a special link to put into the email so that I know if somebody has clicked through to the blog post from the email, right? These are all things that are helping me behind the scenes to kind of stay on top of how people are engaging with and interacting with my content. All things that you could be doing as well. And then the last thing I want to point out is that for the podcast that I was talking about, the Success Through Community podcast that I co host with my friend Jolene, we have a board very much like this because she's the one who kind of helped design how this board looks. We actually collaborate on that one and we take turns every week. And so being inside of Trello is actually allowing us to collaborate so freely with each other. I don't have to ping her and say, "Oh, did you remember to schedule, whatever post?" And she doesn't have to do that for me because we can just go into the Trello board and see what's been done and what hasn't been done because it'll have that scheduled label on it. It'll have the due date of when it's actually scheduled to post, all this stuff. So we can collaborate really well together. So if you're watching this and thinking, okay, that looks amazing, but there's no way I would be able to create a board that does all of that. Well, you're in luck because this board is available in my membership. And if you go and start a free trial today, you'll be able to go and get that Trello board right away. The free trial is full access. So you can see all the trainings, you can get access to all the Trello boards, including this one, where I also teach you how to set up the automation that is inside the board. So I'll drop the link in the comments as well as in the description so that you can go and grab this board today and create your own life-changing, fully automated content calendar board. If you like this video, hit that thumbs up for me and make sure that you subscribe to the channel and ring that little notification bell. The online tools for your business do not need to be complicated and overwhelming. It's time to let it be easy.